one evening I went to a big temple in Bangkok, the capital, and there was a fortune teller sitting outside. And of course, I couldn't resist.
Mhm.
He had a little desk and even a laptop, and he was quite busy, so I had to wait for a while. And when I said that, he also had like a picture of him with the king of
Wow.
Thailand.
Wow.
So I was like, this guy is the real deal. And when I sat down, he looked me straight in the eyes and he told me that I should do a voice recording of everything that he's going to say because there's going to be a lot of predictions and they're going to be very specific and precise. So he did some calculations on his computer and then drew a little bit on a piece of paper. I don't really know what he was doing. And then he told me the following. He said that the job I was doing at the time was amazing. So I should hold on to it because I'm going to get rich if I do that. He also said I'm gonna break up with my girlfriend very soon, and the last thing he told me was that I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna stay where I am. Within a year, I got fired from my job. I married my girlfriend, and I moved. I moved to a different country. I still have a good laugh at that story
That's great.
because the buildup was so convincing.
Exactly.
I
Record
was
it.
like, this guy is amazing. I found the one guy in the
Yeah.
world that's gonna tell me everything, like a Wikipedia article.
Right.
Everything that's gonna happen.
Right.
Oddly enough, though, the whole affair didn't completely destroy my willingness to try again. I
Mhm.
saw a palm reader on the street like 2 months ago here. It was just for part of it is just for the fun of it,
Right.
but I'm still curious how come this stuff survives in us, even in the face of total disaster.
Well, I mean, obviously, first of all, you've pointed to just the fun part of it, which I think that has been encouraged in many cases. I know that people go sometimes to palm readers in groups, almost like an outing, a social outing. Um, but so there's that. But since the beginning of time, we've wanted to know what was coming. We've wanted to know the future. Divination is as old as civilization, and especially, you know, if you think about the ancient world, like people just did not understand how things worked. They there was no scientific understanding of the calendar. Hardly, they knew sort of that things changed over the year, but they weather. There's no predictions of weather. They're just and disease. It was just a very random and harsh world. And so knowing your fate and knowing what was coming became very, very valuable. And I would argue that it still is today. We tend to look to more rational sources. We now know how to predict the weather scientifically. And so we go to them and we have doctors and we understand medicine better and so forth. But even in our advanced world, there's stuff that just happens randomly, serious stuff. Relationships, by the way, the fact that he predicted that you would break up with your girlfriend, the relationships are very variable, right? They are unpredictable how they're going to go. And so it's a common fodder for palm readings, psychics, and so forth. I have to say, this guy, to his credit, he made very concrete predictions, right? Which I think is not the standard mode. Generally speaking, astrologers and others make fairly vague statements about what's going to happen and so forth. And so he was pretty out there. Maybe he knew he was never going to see you again, but
I mean,
probably.
he did have a computer, so it was only fair that he makes very precise predictions.
Yes, exactly. So anyway,
I should go back there.
yeah.
Um, what broader implications does this have for general human psychology and the convictions that we hold deep in our minds then?
Again, uh, the future, right? And the anxious world that we live in. We do, although we have much more control over our lives, people are still quite anxious from day to day because they don't, the economy, disease, accidents, relationships, all these things are quite variable and unpredictable. Um, but so I think that uh, many things, not just superstition, but obviously religious beliefs are also uh, grounded in this sort of anxiety about the world and your place in it, you know. And so we love certainty. We would, generally speaking, we prefer certainty over uncertainty, even when the certainty is about something unfortunate, you know. There are some rare cases where people choose not to know whether something bad is going to happen in the future, but generally speaking, we want to know what's going to happen so we can plan for it. And also we would like the outcome to be good. And so, you know, the one thing about superstition is, you know, is positive superstitions are aimed at trying to bring about a better life and good luck and so forth. And many religions in various forms offer the same guarantee, maybe even in a much larger way, that if you practice appropriately, you will go to the land of milk and honey, and you know, have a wonderful afterlife and so on. That's a pretty big incentive to hold in front of people to keep them doing things that are in fact, you know, just actions that have no special value. Uh, so I think that's it. I mean, the religious uh, the religious offering, the guarantee of religion is much bigger. You know, it is you are part of a large entity. You have meaning in that sense. Someone is watching over you. There are all these ways in which religion offers many benefits. Superstition is a little bit more concrete and localized, right? In the moment, this is going to be better for you. And however, you know, in between that, you might think of divination. You know, this knowing the future. That's a pretty big uh, offering if it's true, and as opposed to simply like having a lucky air flight, you know, for you know, for the next hour or two. So it's, I think there is a relationship in the sense of lowering your anxiety in the moment, offering you some vision of the future that may be comforting, and in the case of religion, offering much more than that.
All right. Thank you to my lovely patrons, Tai Chi, Carmen, and Veronica. Thank you for your support. You're amazing. If you want to support Eurotrash too, you can do that. Just go to Patreon and find me there. All right. Thanks again.